C, and we are back with another episode review of Love and Marriage Huntsville. This is season 2, episode 9, Boss Chick versus Wife Chick. So let's go ahead and get started. Now this episode starts with Kimmy, and Kimmy is feeling stressed with everything going on between Tisha and Miss Wanda and Melody and her husband getting ready for the bar. And so she really needs a chance to relieve some stress. So she goes axe throwing and she meets her friend Keisha there. And Keisha is friends with everybody. She knows the Holts and she knows the Scotts. And so Kimmy's kind of using this opportunity to kind of see what her thoughts are on this whole situation, to make sure that she is not being a bad friend or sister-in-law. And Keisha is pretty much a neutral party, and so she feels like she's a good person to talk to kind of sort things out. So they're there and they are doing really well. They are throwing those axes, and as scary as it looks, they are doing it. But they kind of sit down and talk, and Keisha basically just tells her that Tisha needs to stop being so sensitive and that you're not doing anything wrong. So that was pretty much the gist of that conversation. And then we go over to Tisha, who says that Marceau is out of town, and so she's using this opportunity to go to a self-defense class because she feels like every woman should be equipped with defense in the event that she needs it. So she goes to this jiu-jitsu spot and she brings her friend, I believe her name is April, and they practice some techniques and learn some new moves in the event that they need to defend themselves. And they talk, and April is recently divorced, and so Tisha feels like she needed to get her out of the house, and they kind of hang out, and that she's available. She doesn't have a husband right now, so she was using that opportunity to have a friend and a listening ear. And April tells Tisha that she's got an event coming up called Bad and Bougie Not Broke, and she lets her know it's at Miles College. And she lets her know that she is on the panel, or she tells Tisha that she's on the panel. And so Tisha is excited about the opportunity. But Tisha is nervous, and she doesn't want to tell Marceau that she is going out of town for an event, as she likes to say, because she doesn't know how he's going to react, because he's already feeling some kind of way about Tisha embarking on so many other endeavors and neglecting their business together. And then we go to Melody, who is going to see the psychologist, as she mentioned in the last episode. So she goes to see him, and he's asking her, how she manages to keep everything together, or how she manages to juggle so many different jobs or so many different things and keep her family at the same time. And she simply tells him that she prioritizes and that the family's not going anywhere. So that's kind of, a constant, but the things around it, she will tend to prioritize different things as needed. But this conversation, I guess they said all of that to get to the real issue at hand, which is her father and the lack of relationship that they had growing up, or that they had while she was growing up. She told us how she was into so many different things, and she was a part of so many different organizations, and she made good grades, and she was doing all of this stuff to make her family proud. And then somehow that segued into her saying that she never really had a relationship with her father. And she started crying, and it was kind of awkward because the doctor, he just kind of stopped because she just started crying out of nowhere. But they unpacked a few things in this conversation, and he asks her, does she feel like her stepping on the gas with so many other obligations or so many other things that she has on her plate, does she believe that that causes her to neglect her family? And in doing that, what he said was a possibility is that when the children are older, they will resent her for being so busy and not being the mom that they need. And she cut that session short. She ended the session on her own. The doctor didn't have a chance to end it because Melody was done talking to him at that point. So she left. Now, she goes home, and then we see her there, and she's getting dresses, and she's donating them. She's getting dresses to donate to a prom drive that their town is having. And Martell uses this to ask her, well, does this mean that you are about to slow down on a lot of stuff that you're doing? And she's like, no, I don't plan on stopping what I'm doing. And he particularly wants her to stop this play nonsense because he doesn't want it to shed any additional light on the affair that he had with the Ariane girl, that mess. So he was trying to get her to not be a part of this play because he doesn't want it to cause the buzz to stir back up about his infidelities. And she basically tells him that she will not, she's not going to stop doing anything, the Embrace skincare line, the play, whatever else she has doing that she's doing. But those seem to be the only two things that they are focused on this season. And she doesn't plan on stopping any of that, whether he likes it or not. So they kind of go back and forth with one another. They didn't really get anywhere with that. And she kind of tells him, okay, 1 minute you're telling me that you want me to grind, you want me to reach for the stars, you want me to do this and do that. And then the next minute you're telling me that I need to pump my brakes, I need to chill. Make up your mind, which one is it? And he doesn't really have an answer to that because he doesn't really know. His thing, I believe, he just wants her to chill with this play nonsense. And he would probably be satisfied, but I don't know. What do y'all think? Then we go back to Kimmy. And Kimmy let us know earlier in the season that she wanted to do a voting drive for this upcoming election. And by doing that, she wanted to go out into the community and she wanted to have voters drive. She wanted to make sure that people were registered to vote. So she put together a team of people, and it included her husband, Tisha and Marceau, Wanda, Melody, Destiny, and LeBerick, like everybody that we've seen this whole season, plus a few other people. And they were going to go out into North Huntsville, I think they said, and kind of, beat the streets and talk to the community. Well, when Tisha and Marceau and Miss Wanda show up, Tisha's wearing heels. And everybody else recalled Kimmy saying that we are going to be walking the neighborhood. And she's the only one that showed up in heels. Everybody else is wearing walking shoes. But she was convinced that it wasn't mentioned. And Marceau was like, well, I heard him say it. And so she was just like, well, well, she didn't hear him. So she was out there walking in heels. Well, while they're out in the neighborhood, they're talking to the community, telling people, putting door tags on people's doors, reminding them to go and register and other important information. Wanda and Kimmy have a moment to kind of talk. And Kimmy just wants to kind of make sure that she and Miss Wanda are good. Miss Wanda says that we're fine. I sometimes have to give you that tough motherly love, but we're fine. And then she goes to say, I don't like you being fake. And Kimmy is like, how am I being fake? And she just tells her that I don't like you going and whispering with Melody when it comes to my child. And so she's like, we don't whisper about Tisha, we talk about our children, our endeavors, the things that we have going on in our lives. Nothing is ever about Tisha. And so Miss Wanda was kind of over talking her, and Kimmy just kind of was like, well, you don't give anybody a chance to speak. You just kind of speak your piece, and you kind of try to let that be the end of it, but you don't give anybody the opportunity to speak. So Miss Wanda shut up, and when she did shut up, that gave Kimmy the opportunity to get through to her. And I think Miss Wanda does understand now that Kimmy is not Tisha's enemy. They're family, they're friends, and she would never betray her in any way. And so I think Miss Wanda understands that for now, but she still doesn't see it for the Holtz. And I don't think she ever will see it for the Holtz because they hurt her baby. Now, I forgot to mention that Martell called Kimmy while they were on their way, or while they were at the place getting everything together, and told her that he will not be there because he cannot be around Marceau and Tisha, especially considering the fact that they filed a police report on him. He just chooses to stay away because he doesn't want anything else to get stirred up and any further legal action be taken. So Kimmy was kind of bummed about that, but Melody did show up, and Melody just kind of let them know that, yeah, he wasn't coming because he, they filed a police report on him. And if they really wanted to follow through with it, they would have filed the order of protection and everything else. But they were just doing it to be petty in the Holt's eyes. Now, we then go to Melody and Tisha. They are also in the neighborhoods doing the walks, and they somehow get together to talk. And it, as it always does, it starts out pleasant. They get together, they're talking about how good it was to be able to be in a room together and blah blah blah. And then their conversation went left, as it always does. They somehow go to Melody saying that Marceau lies to Tisha or something, and Tisha's claiming that he doesn't. He has never lied to her in the 13 years that they've been married. And Melody believes that that's a lie. And that was pretty much all they talked about. I didn't really understand the need for that scene because the two of them, I don't think they'll ever be friends again. And they probably don't need to be friends again because there is way too much water under the bridge. And every time they get together, somebody's going to bring up something from the past. And it's just best that they don't talk anymore. Now, we go back to the Holt's house, and Melody's there with the baby, the newest baby, and she invites her sister over, and I think her sister's name was Shalon. Now, Shalon and Melody didn't meet until Melody was 19 years old. I'm thinking that this was one of those instances where Melody was the product of, I don't know if it was an affair, or obviously he had other children. The father had other children because they mentioned some other siblings as well. But I don't know if that had a lot to do with why he would ignore Melody or didn't really have Melody in his life as he should have. But the sister goes on to tell Melody about, how, because Melody believed that when they first met, that the sister wasn't really checking for her. And the sister lets her know that she had been on drugs for 6 years when they met. So she wasn't really in the right place to receive Melody at that point, being an addict. So Melody kind of had an aha moment. It was just kind of like, wow, I never thought about that. I just thought that you weren't going to accept me. And then when you did come around, I was so busy, I wasn't really in a place to accept you. But I think Melody probably felt rejected, and So she had pretty much shut down. And the sister went on to talk about how hurt she was that Melody didn't invite her to the baby shower. And I think that that was Melody's way of kind of being done with them. So they must have had some sort of conversation afterwards to where they were trying to mend their relationship. But they kind of talked for a while, and then we go on to Tisha, who is at home upset because Marceau's out of town, and they had a conversation. And in that conversation, I guess Marceau said some hurtful things to her. He told her that he felt alone in their relationship and that he wasn't respected in their marriage. And so she was kind of upset. So she calls her friend April. They FaceTime, and she tells her what he said. And April's like, well, that's not good. You never want the man to feel alone in this marriage. She was like, that was kind of where I went wrong in my marriage, and that's why I'm divorced now. And my ex-husband even told me at one point, you know, this is what I need, and I didn't give it to him, and because of that, he left. And so what you don't want to happen is him feeling alone and feeling that he needs to get somebody else who can occupy that space that you're not feeling. And so Tisha had the one tear coming down, and she just lets her know that, yeah, because normally when a man says he's feeling lonely, that's when an affair starts. So she's worried about her marriage and says that, you know, two things that she will fight for are her children and her marriage. So I'm guessing that she's gonna try to change some things, but according to the previews for next week, I don't know, because Tisha gets so bullheaded, and especially when she believes that she's right about something, it doesn't matter what anyone else thinks, not even her husband. And not saying that her husband is right all the time, because Marceau is almost never right in my opinion, but Tisha needs to learn to bend in certain situations, and she needs to learn to take the earplugs out and listen when people are telling her something, and not necessarily see it as an attack as she always does. But that is all I have for this episode. Don't forget to like this video, comment anything that I might have missed. It was a lot, but it wasn't a lot. I don't know if that makes sense, but definitely subscribe to my channel. Like I said, I'll be putting out much more content in the future, and I would love for you guys to be there for it. And that is all I got. So y'all have a great rest of your weekend. It's Labor Day weekend. Be safe. Don't drink and drive. Don't drive and drink. Have a wonderful weekend, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.